What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers, the absolute best pop culture YouTube show that does live stream movie chats every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's us. We're the best at what we do. And what we do is review movies every single Monday night for PCP Movie Night. So welcome to PCP Movie Night. I am your host, Robin. Well, I'm your host, Rockin Robbie Bills. How is everybody doing? We are concluding Van Damme November tonight with the winner of the Van Damme November movie poll. That's right. 10 movies picked by you, voted on by you, and the way overwhelming winner by a landslide is Universal Soldier from 1992, directed by Roland Emmerich. Very excited to talk about this one. It stars, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. Very, very excited. We have a pontificating panel of pompous pirates here tonight, including Steph from Missing Link. What is up, my man?
What's going on, brother? I like the intro. I'm digging that. I like the slip up, the name slip up.
Yeah, my real name is Robin. Yeah, so fuck. I just doxed myself. Speaking.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Huh? It was a scene in the movie, man.
It's Brooks. What's up, Brooks? How you doing? Steph ain't falling for that. Brooks, what's up, man?
Hey, I see you're up to your usual tricks.
Yeah, there's a lot of ear puns in this movie, by the way. So, Steph, I didn't even catch on to that at first. I was confused at first, and I was like, panic, just do the bit. Speaking of panic, this guy's in a constant state of panic whenever he is on a panel. It is Jelani. What is up, my man?
I'm good, man. And yeah, his name's Robin. He doxed himself. Yeah, thanks for having me on for this one. Cause good Lord, I have some things to say. Cause boo to all of you for not picking Time Cop. Boo.
So first of all, this is going to be a hate review probably because his movie that he wanted to win didn't win. So there you go.
Yeah, you about to get it. Y'all who voted for Universal Soldier on top of it. Oh my God. Yeah, we gonna talk.
Dude, Time Cop wasn't even second, bro. That was Lionheart. All right, so moving on. Speaking of Lionheart, the only heart of a lion we have here is Fable. What is up, my man? The host of the second best pop culture related YouTube channel that does live shows on Saturdays at, is it noon or 1 Central? Noon Central, right? 1 Eastern?
1 p.m. Eastern, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I act like I don't know. I know. Thank you for being here, Fable.
Absolutely, brother.
And you out there in the chat, we really do appreciate you. We want you to be a part of the conversation as well because y'all picked this movie to watch. So let's start talking about it. I had not seen this movie since it first came out. My experience this time was a little different, right? This movie first comes out in 1992. I don't think I watched it in the theater. I remember watching Universal Soldier: The Return in the movie theater, which is another film that I'm pretty sure we'll get to one day because one day we're going to run out of Van Damme movies. But I remember being a kid and like, this was the movie, y'all. Like in 1992, I'm 11. This movie is made for 11-year-olds. This movie to me felt epic. It felt badass. I remember Dolph Lundgren. Like, I remember like thinking he was super scary. I remember thinking the action was ridiculously awesome. I remember loving the concept. I watched this movie as an adult now and I'm like, it's okay. Like it's good, solid, fun entertainment. Right. But like Kickboxer, it's a shame that we kicked this all off with Bloodsport because it was all downhill from there, bro. Like I love Van Damme, and in Bloodsport, we're like, this is the most in shape he's ever in. In Kickboxer, we're like, this is the most in shape he's ever in, bruh. In Universal Soldier, this dude is tighter. He's like showing his ass off in every other fucking scene. He's like Sylvester Stallone and don't stop or my mom will shoot all of a sudden, right? He's just so proud of himself. You got all these sweaty, muscly men's in this movie. And I'm like, wow, this movie's like Magic Mike on steroids, right? with like Super Saiyan fucking power, like, I don't know, whatever.
Mike means Captain America.
Yes, exactly. But what I'm saying is, it's a cheesy movie. It's a dumb movie. It's not incredibly well made. I think Oliver Harper says it kind of feels like it's made for TV when you watch it nowadays, but it doesn't hurt my enjoyment of the movie. I still think the movie is solid. I think Jean-Claude Van Damme actually gives a pretty solid performance. Now, I don't think that they do a good job of mixing the action and the intensity with the human drama that they're trying to do of Luke trying to find his family and all that shit and recovering his memory with comedy, right? And the movie was heavily criticized because it came out a year after Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And you can see the similarities from that movie into this one, right? But I like Jean-Claude Van Damme's comedic delivery in time in this movie. It actually works for me, but it's not a perfect movie. It's not super clean, but there's things I love. First of all, I'm getting an echo from somebody. I don't know who that is, but somebody figure that shit out. It's probably Jelani. All right. So where was
Thank you. I want to let you know that it's my echo. And
what was I saying now? Now it messed me up. I forgot what I was saying. The pace. Oh, it didn't blend the comedy. I like the comedy. Oh, that truck that like opens up so they can all go to their computers and shit. That's badass. Why was there not a Universal Soldiers toy line? Because that shit would have been badass, bro. Removable headsets, removable gear. You know, that could have been cool. That could have been awesome. That being said, I'm glad that I got to rewatch this movie. But here's one of my, maybe I should save this for Festivus. But why does Bloodsport not even have a Blu-ray release proper, right? And Universal Soldier has like a 4K restoration that is available to easily stream on Amazon Prime. And it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely amazing. Speaking of looking amazing and gorgeous, Steph, Universal Soldier, what do you think?
Oh, I think I'm right there with you. I think you summed it up pretty well. When I saw this as a kid, I didn't see it in theaters, mind you, but I had the VHS, and I always thought it was a badass cover. I didn't look it up, but if I can remember correctly, it was like Van Damme and Dolph standing, like Dolph was like behind him, but they had that badass headgear on with like the armor and shit. I always thought it was super action packed as a kid. Dolph scared the shit out of me, especially with the opening of him collecting the ears and making the ear puns. I got a second. I enjoy Van Damme's comedic timing in this movie, like the whole fish out of water approach they have, like, you know, in the diner when he's like discovering how to eat and shit. But solid movie. Loved it as a kid, but as an adult, you know, it is kind of meh, but I respect it. You know, I respect what it was going for. And I think I love to see like older movies and see if they do like prime for a remake. I think this would be kind of like dope remake given to the right like creative team. I think this would be prime for a remake, but it's a solid flick. It's one of my no, I was just gonna say it's one of my favorite Van Damme flicks.
All right, I was gonna say like I don't trust modern Hollywood studios to properly remake this movie because I feel like they would put the Miz in it or some shit like that, you know. But if they got the right actors, yeah, this is prime for a remake. You could really dive into it, man. And what's crazy is I knew about Universal Soldier: The Return, right, with Goldberg, right? I did not know there were 2 direct-to-video sequels that they did that were meant to be television miniseries, but they did not get picked up by a network. So Universal 2 and 3 were direct-to-video. Universal Soldier: The Return comes out, ignores those sequels, eat your heart out, fucking David Gordon Green. And then they do another movie, Universal Soldier Disclosure or something like that, and Dolph Lundgren comes back. And then they did a sequel to that one. I didn't even know those movies existed. They came out like 2009 and 2012. Like, what? I didn't even know this existed. Speaking of not even knowing it exists, Brooks didn't even know those sequels existed. I'm assuming. Brooks, what do you think about this movie?
No, I did not know those sequels existed. I only know about the first one.
Well, we got to do a franchise review now, right? Right.
Franchise this one. I bet they'd all be great. I bet they're all masterpieces. But yeah, this is one of the few Jean-Claude movies I remember from when I was young, when I was a kid, like seeing like, you know, a rental. I remember liking it pretty good, like, and I like it better than Kickboxer, a little bit, but you know, it's still like, you know, it doesn't reach Bloodsport highs either. But I like the fact that, you know, in this movie in particular, like, you know, a lot of action stars, especially early in their career, have a tendency to be a little bit wooden, but this role actually kind of requires that kind of wooden acting from Jean-Claude. I think he does it good. Like, I love, the kind of awkwardness he has, and like, he's funny, man. Jean-Claude is charming as fuck in this movie. And
especially when he's getting that chick to touch his dick and he's like, is that supposed to be there?
But yeah, this movie is I think it's a little lacking in the action, to be honest. Like, most of it feels kind of like a chase movie. But it does have some funny stuff in there too. It has some pretty fun action scenes, and Dolph Lundgren is really good in this movie too.
Yes.
So yeah, I think this was. I was glad to rewatch this one.
Yeah, I'm glad to rewatch this one too, man. It actually, I'm glad I didn't buy it. I'm glad I got to stream the 4K on Amazon Prime, which looks gorgeous. Can we get somebody on a 4K restoration of Bloodsport, please? Because this dude, Van Damme's first starring role is his best movie. Like, and this is like, that's kind of badass, but it's also kind of sad. But I mean, honestly, one day we're going to talk about JCVD.
Guile?
Well, that's right. His performance as Guile, he was overshadowed by Raul Julia, obviously. And even the guy that was like, quick, change the channel. Anyway, speaking of changing the channel, Zangief's, Jelani's best character in Street Fighter is not Zangief, because only insane people can really win with Zangief, because he's hard to work. Jelani's hard to work. Jelani, what do you think about Universal Soldier? These segues are struggling, man.
Yeah, dude, you got struggling segues. Yes,
they're as struggly as your fucking internet connection, man. It's rough.
Yeah. Watch me cry when I get in the car. But yeah, man. Why didn't y'all pick Time Cop? That's all I gotta say. Seriously, dog. Time Cop was easy. It's got like tits. It's awesome. And the guy, the fucking what's his name, dies the best way ever in that movie. When you die falling into yourself, I mean, Jesus, that CGI was terrible. I wanted to go through all of that, but thanks guys, Universal Soldier. But Universal Soldier's fine. I mean, it's boring. It's got no action. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a treat. Brooks, you're right. He is good in this movie. He is, Dolph Lundgren is also good in this movie, but the script they're given, oh my God, what the crap is this?
And this script got punched up by Roland Emmerich's #1 guy, right? He was like, script's not good enough. I got to bring in Dean Devlin to
Devlin did this? The guy who did Godzilla and Independence Day?
Yeah. Oh, man, Roland Emmerich, man. That's his dude, man. That's his #1 dude. Yeah.
Yep. Dean Devlin.
This script must have been bare bones at first.
Yeah.
Dude, they became blood brothers when they were like 6 years old, and he was just like, fuck, I guess I got to get him to write the script.
My movies. I'm going to put you in all of my
He's
movies.
like Brandon Choi and Jim Lee, man. Jim Lee's like, I'm stuck with this dude, man. I promised him when I was 7.
It's in the contract. So, like, it's fine. I mean, it's okay. I'm not too keen on the characters. They're weak characters outside of Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's not cool. Man, Jerry Orbach's in this movie, and they don't even use him. And the misuse of all time in this movie that I hated more than anything. Tiny Zeus Lister is in this movie, and they don't. Not only do they not use him, he dies, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was waiting for the scene where he got to shine. Also, Michael Jai White's in this film.
Yeah,
and I'm like, was he? I didn't see him.
I blinked and I missed him.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, it's so poorly edited. It's so poorly done in so many different ways. The action scenes, like, you're framing the girl to like because she saw too much, and and Dolph Lundgren kills one of those things. Why didn't you put Dolph Lundgren on ice? Be like, hey, you finally killed somebody. Get on ice. There's just so many stupid things, and then like you're shooting up places with new witnesses. You got new witnesses that you haven't killed yet. You got the gas station attendant. You got the freaking hotel dude, hydraulicus dude from Hercules. Man, I got so many problems with this movie.
Dude, that whole hotel bit with that dude and his mom slows the fuck out of this movie.
It slows it down. It's such a pacing issue with this movie. I mean, I'm going into all of it. And body counts in this movie, and I didn't realize that Ice-T and it was singing Body Count at the end of this movie. I know we're talking about the music later, but god damn it, Body Count is trash. That song is absolute
get
trash.
the fuck out of here,
For
man.
Ice
Come on.
songs,
If anything, they should have used it more,
Count,
Delaney. They should have used it more.
No, they shouldn't have. No, this movie's trash, man. Y'all should have did Time Cop. How dare y'all? How dare
I swear 5 minutes ago you were like, the movie's okay.
How dare y'all? Freaking Time Cop is way better than this movie.
You're just so hurt that Time Cop was like third or fourth, man. And I thought Time Cop was going to win, man. I get you. I get what you're saying, though. This movie has pacing issues. I hate the false ending, right? Where like he goes home and you're like, and I'm like, so the movie's over? Oh no, there's still 30 fucking minutes left in this
She's
thing.
wanted for murder. Oh yeah.
It's like Return of the fucking King over here, man.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Van Damme would like sail away into the sunset at the end of this movie, man.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. And Allie Walker. Oh, we're gonna
her first movie, by the way.
Good lord, there's a reason.
No way.
Yep, her first movie. She had just like majored in biochemistry or some shit. I'm still in all of this from Oliver Harper. He did all the research. I didn't know shit about the behind the scenes of this movie. Fable. What did you think? Because what I love about this is that everybody agreed to be on this panel before they even knew what the winner was. They were just like, whatever the poll winners is, I want to do that one.
Van Damme, man.
I know it's Van Damme, baby. It's great. Man. It's like that dude in Sense8, you know, who was like obsessed with Van Damme and he had the van and everything, and dude was badass.
Who doesn't like all this
right,
shit?
Van Damme, dude, the splits, and dude, like, I appreciate Brooks says he likes it a little bit better than Kickboxer. Me too, because in Kickboxer, he kind of showed his ass, and this one, he's like, yeah, dude,
it's full on.
Full on. Speaking of full on ass, Fable, what'd you think about this movie? That was a good segue.
Yeah,
that was a good segue.
Yeah, that was a good one. Oh, man. Roland Emmerich, man. Roland Emmerich, you know, Jerry Bruckheimer. All these, you know, even James Cameron, you could put him there too. It's just that James Cameron was a cut above these guys. But yeah, when I was a kid, I agree with you 100%, Robbie. This was the baddest ass movie. You know what I mean? I loved Universal Soldier, freaking Dolph Lundgren, freaking Van Damme in a movie together. That was awesome back in the days when they announced that. You know what I mean? When you knew that was going down, Drago and fucking Van Damme. Come on, bro. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? And you know, all the soldier shit, and you know, I loved it. I saw it like a million times when I was a kid. That being said, I saw it this time around, and I gotta agree with all of you guys, man. Everybody said it. It's like it's okay. It's entertaining. It's a little boring. It does have a little pace issue, and it slows down in spots. And man, talk about Mandela effects or rose-tinted glasses, man. I don't know what happened. Like, I used to love this freaking movie, like, and now it's just okay. So, you know, I don't know. Yeah, maybe screw you for not picking Time Cop, because you kind of ruined Universal Soldier for me a little bit.
Ruined Universal Soldier by making me watch it.
Man. On this watch, I'm going to tell you that my enjoyment from this watch came from Dolph Lundgren. 100%. This was him letting loose. He's never let loose like this in anything else I've ever seen, where he's just making puns, like Link said, the ear puns that were kind of funny too. Yeah. And you know, just having a ball, just you know, beating up Van Damme in the end, having a ball doing it. That's what I enjoyed about this go around. But I agree with all you guys. You guys are right. This is not as good as probably you remember.
So I feel where this panel is going to go on this next topic. So I'm going to go first. My favorite character and performance in this movie is Dolph Lundgren, because dude is giving it his all in this movie. Those comedic scenes, right, where he's doing the ear puns, right? He can't hear you, and he's got to show you the ear in case you don't get it, right? And so like he's doing that, and then also this dude. So they filmed this movie in Arizona in like the peak of summer. And so that sweat is legitimate. And I wonder if they like did the whole icing bit because they were like, damn, everybody's so sweaty in this movie. We got to make a reason. And Dolph Lundgren was the worst. Like he was not handling, and this dude is pouring sweat throughout this entire fucking movie, right?
Have you seen the Old Spice commercials where they have like the remastered version, the AI version of him, and he's sweating and he's shooting water out of his armpits?
No.
Yeah. It's because he's always sweaty in his movies. He's always sweaty like He-Man. He's like that.
He's
like that
sweaty as
Rocky.
fucking Punisher. Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, he sure
he's
is,
very
man.
sweaty.
Dude, that's one we need to do.
Super moist
The
and awful.
Punisher.
We gotta do Punisher.
Oh, Super Moist Mondays. Or
Super Moist Mondays. I like that. I like that. All right, but Dolph Lundgren is giving it his all. He's physically an intimidating performance here, right? But he's also like those scenes where he's snapping from the very beginning of this movie. Then when he gets it back, right? When the dudes are dying around him, and he's trying to bring them back. Like he's actually giving it his all for what he can do. And
Right.
I think he's doing an absolute fantastic job. And that was the performance, aside from Van Damme's ass cheeks, that was the performance in this movie that really set it off for me, man. That made me that's the highlight of this movie for me. What about you, Steph? What's another performance you'd like to highlight?
Slim Pickens, boys. Sorry, I'm gonna go with Van Damme. Van Damme, I said earlier, I enjoyed the whole fish out of water comedic timing he had, and like Brooks was saying, the whole stiffness or his robotic, not the best actor. He's charming, not the best, but this movie works in his favor with him being a whole cyborg, and so.
Cyborg.
But no, yeah. The diner scene when they first meet, I think his parents, and she's like, or they're going to see a doctor, and the lady answers the door, and she's like, "Do you have an appointment?" And she's like, "Yes." And Van Damme's behind her, and she looks behind him, and she starts nodding his head yes, in accordance to her. So I think great little moments, not too many of those comedic moments with Van Damme throughout this movie, but enough to make him a highlight, and because Robbie stole Dolph, so yeah, Van Damme.
that diner scene's great too, when he's eating.
That's
and
the best scene in the movie.
He's playing that so good, right? And then the woman's like, can you pay for any of this? And he just looks at her and he just goes back to eating. He's watching people, and I'm like, damn, he's actually making that meatloaf look really good. Speaking of making meatloaf really look good, Brooks knows. Fuck. Anyway, Brooks, what about you? What's the performance you want to highlight?
Well, I can't remember her name, but the female lead in this movie, I really like, because she's like one of those reporter types who's after a story and gets in too deep. And
Veronica. Ali Walker is Veronica Roberts.
Veronica, that's the name of the character. Okay. Yeah, I like her. I like her attitude. She's hot. I like that as well. And I like her chemistry with Van Damme. I like that they don't play up a romance between them. It's kind of just they're just two guys on the run with each other. And she's kind of having to deal with a lot of his bullshit. But, at the same time, having a super soldier Van Damme with you when people are trying to kill you is also kind of a good thing too. Oh, yeah. And yeah, I'm glad they didn't at the end, when they go, they're coming together. I'm like, oh God, are they gonna fucking kiss? And that they don't. They just hug. I was like, awesome. Because they didn't set up any romance between these two people.
So Brooks is she's still available.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Get my time machine.
I'm pretty sure she's married with kids now.
Well, fuck, man. That don't mean shit, man. Trust me. Anyway, what about you, Jelani? Jab, what do you think?
Yeah, Slim Pickens. So I guess I'll go with the two goofy scientists that are trying to help the Universal Soldiers get better and whatnot. I especially like the dude with the glasses. He's like, I won't be a part of this, and he was just so goofy because I liked him all the way up to the part where he gave the grenade to the soldier, and then the soldier held the grenade. I was and it held his hand so he couldn't leave. I was like, this is great. He was yeah, I gave you an order. You're supposed to use this grenade. Pull the pin, hold 30 seconds. And he just holds both his hands. And you never see him again because explosion. It's just it's done. I'm like, oh man, this was so great. And then the way the black dude dies is fantastic. There's no way in hell I'm gonna go in there and try to fool with Dolph Lundgren while he's sitting in the chair. Why the hell? I don't know whose plan that was. It was the dude's plan. I thought he was gonna go in there. He made the other dude go in. And I was like, He died stupid because he got the needle through the back of his head. I just thought they were great, man. I don't know what it was. It was just that they were fixing one guy, and Dolph is like killing everybody else, and he's telling them, you better fix this guy and make sure everything works. And they're pretending to do work. They're like, just keep doing this work. Just keep doing this work while we, so we don't get killed. If I was in that situation, I'd been one of them two guys, but I would have done any of that dumb shit.
There's a lot of dumb shit. Like
there's a lot of dumb shit.
He's melting basically. Doesn't realize that he's melting, and they tell him, "Hey, you're melting."
And they tell him that he's melting.
You're like you're on red there, and he's like, "Oh, I am." Snap time.
No, you gotta leave him alone.
Then he's like, "Now's our chance." No, bro, that was your chance.
No, that was your chance, and you blew it.
Yeah, and when he goes naps, why don't you leave the truck? What are you doing? Like, run for your life.
The second the dude killed, the Dolph Lundgren killed that guy, I'd have been like, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Delaney, you wouldn't have been in that position to begin with.
Hell no, I wouldn't go in no hostage situations. I wouldn't have been doing no scientific studies with dead bodies. If they said there was some dead bodies involved, I'd be like, hell no, fuck this shit, I'm out. And they were like, oh, but it pays really well. I don't give a shit. That's dead bodies. You want me to reanimate dead bodies and have them give them guns and go kill people on our command and just assume that that's gonna go well? What a dumbass program.
Well, Jeffrey Combs would have been great in this film, man.
Hell no. I wouldn't have been none of this. You're right.
All right, what about you, Fable? What's one that you want to highlight if there are any left?
What is left? Yeah. All right, I'll highlight the big, brutish, freaking most giant universal soldier there was there. The guy who freaking walked in the beginning with the hard hat. And they're like, hey, you. And he's like, look, holy shit, look at this guy. And they shot him all up. And he just
is that the dude that's like eating the raw steak in the grocery store?
Yeah, that's after the grenade scene.
Yeah.
So how did he survive and the other guy didn't survive?
She threw him in the freezer. He threw them both in the freezer, and Tiny Zeus Lister was hurt too bad, so he didn't come back. So he was kicking him, talking about, come back to life, soldier. Come back to life, soldier. But he was fine because he only got blown up with a grenade. So that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, him, that guy. He's just a big guy, and he'd kick Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren's ass if you gave him a chance. But that's it.
That is a dude who was also in something. He's in Gladiator. He's one of the gladiators in Ridley Scott's Gladiator. Yeah, that's what I was looking up. Let's talk about the style and structure of the movie. I think the movie looks good. First of all, there's a 4K restoration, but even at the time, the movie looks good. It's got that like nice kind of like action movie sheen that we know from Roland Emmerich's films, right? Like ID4, shit like that. It looks like that, and it's a little bit more colorful, right? They're definitely going into the with their uniforms. Like we're talking about 1992. They're filming this in 91. We're in the midst, and people younger than us may not remember this, but we're in the midst of Desert Storm, Desert Shield, like super patriotism, like and like never ever in the history of mankind has desert camo been as popular as a fashion choice than back then. So that's part of it too, right? Also, Van Damme's got some good hair in this movie. He's got that little bit that's coming down like that, like Mike Matthews was like, bruh, you need to like style your hair like Van Damme in this one. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got the time. But I was thinking
kickboxer hair.
His hair in Kickboxer and Bloodsport actually is like
flat,
like so bad. Dude. This is what my hair looks like after I get out of the shower. Anyway. So
but is it fucking with his mullet and Time Cop?
we should be talking about the mullet,
has
right?
the best mullet. He has the best mullet and the best hair in Time. You are right.
Dolph Lundgren has the worst hair of his career here because he's rocking that Caesar cut. You know what I'm saying? And he's sweating hard, so it looks like a bunch of like nails, like claws, like just like fucking. And I used to rock that same haircut, bro, and I rocked that all throughout high school, man. And I'm, I understand, dude. I thought I looked like George Clooney. I looked like Dolph Lundgren in this movie, and I don't mean that as a good thing. Style is fine. I don't think that it's light on action sequences because there's some good fights. Like, I mean, it's not as good as some of the other stuff. Like, there could be better fighting, there could be better stuff, you know. But the explosions are cool when the gas station goes up. And I even was watching it. I was like, I mean, that part next to the gas station is about to blow up, right? Boom, and it did. And I was just like so satisfied. But it does have pacing issues. Man, it slows up in certain scenes where it wants to like, okay, now we're going to be a comedy for 10 minutes. And it kind of detracts from things. Nothing ever feels super high stakes because everything is like so small scale where it's kind of like Starman, but Starman didn't promise to be as epic in scope as Universal Soldier does. So Starman actually works because it's a more personal movie. It's a more personal journey between, what's her name from Indiana Jones? What's her name? Marion... Is that her character's name? Anyway, between her and Jeff Bridges in the movie, you don't have that with Allie and Jean-Claude in this one, right? So it's kind of lacking there. It gets a little bit dull, it gets a little bit boring. And then it has that false ending where it makes that last 30 minutes just feel a little bit longer. However, when Dolph Lundgren shows up, I love that final battle. The best parts of this movie to me are the very beginning and the very end. That shit is awesome. And knowing that Dolph and Jean-Claude are back in the last 2 sequels they did, I mean, I really kind of at least want to check them out, you know? What do you think about the style and structure stuff?
Yeah, it's competent. I think there's a style to it, you know, that you can kind of see early Emmerich, or you can see early on the kind of like style Emmerich was going to go with, like the very beginning with the war scene or the Nam scene with like the explosions and the blue lighting, the flashing. You know, he likes to use that a lot. That was big in Independence Day. Pacing, that's the biggest flaw of this movie. It's just like he's trying to clear his name. It becomes kind of like a road trip. I don't know. It's like he's discovering himself, and I get that, but it kind of reminded me of like a coming of age story, which it shouldn't be, you know. But it's competent. You know, it could be refined, but it's not enough for me to rag on the movie. Like, I still enjoy it. I still think it was fun.
Absolutely. What about you, Brooks? Style and structure. What do you think?
Well, I mean, this is definitely a Roland Emmerich movie, and like, if you were a kid in the '90s, like that's when he was popping off. You know, that's when action movies were starting to kind of shape around, like, you know, what Roland Emmerich was doing in a lot of his movies, for better and for worse. And this movie, it is a good action movie. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, but you know, it is a bit slower. I think it needed a few more cuts in it to make it a little more, you know, a little smoother. Like, you know, maybe cut back on some of the things and speed up the pace a little bit. But you know, it doesn't feel bloated either necessarily. I mean, it feels like a decent enough movie. And you know, with the false ending was kind of a weird thing, but you know, that's probably like a thing back then, like, oh, you can fucking surprise the audience by, like, you know, tricking them into thinking the movie's over.
They're getting their fucking purses and wallets and everything together. They're like getting the kids together, and all of a sudden they're like, oh,
they just walk out of theaters like, hey, did you remember what happened to, you know, where Dolph Lundgren died? Like, what? No,
it's like the first time you watch Dark Knight. If you leave too soon, they're like, what? You're like, what? Two-Face was in the movie? I thought that was the next movie. What the fuck? All right. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the style and structure of a movie you were so grateful for the PCP Army for picking for us to watch tonight?
Thank you, PCP Army. I appreciate it. It's not bad. It's paced. What I'm talking about. It's weekly paced. It's terrible as far as what you're trying to accomplish. It's an action movie, and you have little action in it in the middle of the movie. The best scene is the diner scene, hands down for me. I love the diner scene. I love just how innocent Jean-Claude Van Damme is. Like, he's just ordering food, and they're just bringing him food, and don't ask any questions. And then finally, after the 20th plate, they're like, wait a minute. How you gonna pay for this? I'm like, I'm going to kick all of your asses. So he pretty much did the fight scene from Kickboxer in this in the diner scene for Universal Soldier. It's basically the same thing, except he's not goofily dancing; he's goofily eating food. And I think it's the best structured like comedic bit in the whole movie. The action scenes are cool. At the very last fight scene is absolutely amazing. It's a great fight scene. I really think that like uh, what you wanted to see was that fight scene, but I would have loved to see it in the middle of the movie where like Dolph Lundgren kicks the shit out of Van Damme. Like he's taking and this is the two scientists thing. The two scientists we're talking about like, well, the black dude was like asking the white dude with the glasses. He was like, how does he what is he doing? And he's like injecting himself with like super steroids. He's like, he's gonna be super strong. So he's the super strongest he's ever been. You don't really see it. You know what I'm saying? You really don't see that. If he had done that and then like kicked Van Damme's ass, like kicked his ass and like he fell down the Grand Canyon or some shit and he had to like survive for a second, or Ellie Walker finds him and like Dolph Lundgren assumes he's dead. So he's like, oh, I'm going to go out killing more people. That's what I would assume would happen in this movie. And he's like killing, he's on a spree and he's like he's drinking ice sodas and talking and cutting ears off again. He's not doing that shit. It's so weird that you didn't put a down bad moment for Van Damme in the middle of the movie, at least. And another crime of this movie, he doesn't do the splits. I don't see him do the splits once. He probably does it at the end scene where he's fighting, but I can't remember. But I don't think he does the splits in this movie. Yeah. And that's a crying shame. And it's one of these movies where like there's so much you could have done as far as storytelling. Like, for example, Ellie Walker is basically a murderer at the end of this movie. She's a murderer. She was going to go to the sheriff's department and talk her way out of it before Dolph Lundgren came and like took the keys. So technically, she was driving to her prison cell, and the fight happens. They kill Dolph Lundgren. They hug at the end, and that's it. There's no clearing it up. Basically, the government swoops in. She's wanted for murder. He's decommissioned. The parents know, so they gotta die. You know, all these people gotta die. It's got so many plot holes. At least Time Cop cleans itself up at the end. I'm just saying, I don't like the pacing of this movie.
All right. What about you, Fable? What do you think about the style and structure?
I think this movie starts out really strong. And it does give you those T2 action movie vibes that you definitely would love from that era. You know, them scaling down that fucking whatever it was they were scaling down.
Yeah, that was cool.
Coming out the water and shit and shooting people in the head from a distance. And the cops are like, who are these guys?
We needed more of that, more mission.
Yeah. You know, it starts, and I even like the title sequence, believe it or not, where it's like Dolph Lundgren and freaking Van Damme, and it's like Universal Soldier. It screams that 90s, like, sleek, trying to be like T2. You know, T2 had that in spades.
Yeah. That's Roland Emmerich, though. That's what he does.
Yeah, and then it just isn't that anymore. And that's the problem for me, mostly. You know what I mean? So, I can't add much to what you guys saying. Pacing issues, absolutely. The fight sequences aren't as well choreographed as I would have liked. You know, I've seen more brutal shit in other Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren movies.
Actually, Universal Soldier: The Return has a badass fight scene between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Michael Jai White, who does return for the return, right, as a full-fledged character. Once he's made Spawn now, so everybody knows who he is, right? But like that has some better fight scenes, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, my highlight is just Dolph Lundgren's performance. I had fun just watching him bug out and go crazy in this movie.
I guess this is the one time where they were like, well, how can we explain why this half French farm boy knows fucking martial arts?
Well, I was going to say
one time where they're like, we're gonna hold back on your martial arts, Van Damme.
I was going to say, leave it to a German guy to get a Swedish guy and a French guy to make a patriotic movie and have Americans eat it all up. Like, you see, I told you those Americans were like that. That's all you got to do is shoot a couple people.
Yep.
So one crazy thing about the movie is it cost $23 million to make, it made 32 million in the States domestically, but it made over 100 million internationally. So it was a success, right? Like the foreign
universal
audience really
success.
gobbled it up, but we gobbled it up too, right? And
Right.
and if this was a Marvel movie, it would have cost $250 million money, so it would have been a failure, right? So,
Yeah.
all right,
Yes.
the music in this film is done by Christopher Frank. Christopher Frank was the drummer of Tangerine Dream, and then quit the band to go into film composing, which is funny because then Tangerine Dream themselves score some of the best fucking movies out there. They do the Legend score for, I think, the director's cut, I'm pretty sure. They do the Near Dark score, which is one of my absolute favorites. But Christopher Frank, who does a lot of television work, he did Tommyknockers and mostly known for doing the music for Babylon 5. So that's pretty cool. He uses synthesizers, right? You can tell this movie is not an orchestra, it's synthesizers. Knowing that, I think for its time, it's actually kind of reaching a certain level of effect. But it does those things that we see very common in all of these action movies where they do the military drum. And the problem is, and I don't know if they were intending this because they were filming this in 91, man, a lot of this movie comes across as trying to be T2, and the music is a part of that.
Yes.
And it feels like a
Yes.
cheap imitation. It feels like the music that belongs in the T2 SNES game.
Isn't it produced by the same guy though? I know Caracol is behind both.
It's Carlico, yeah.
Caracol does
Caracol's
both
behind
movies,
both.
yeah.
And I know Mario Kesar
I didn't know.
is the main producer of this one. I think he's a producer on T2. If I'm
I
not
wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
if they were like, we just made a smash hit with this one. Let's do this again. Right. And I think that
Yeah.
ultimately hurts the film. It definitely hurt the film at the time because it was panned critically in the States. And it didn't have the biggest reception in the States, but it actually does kind of regain. And it's one of those, it overwhelmingly beat every other fucking, it beat Hard Target, Sudden Death, fucking Lionheart, Time
I
Cop.
know,
Like, it
man.
beat all of these
I mean, the
movies.
nostalgia is crazy. Like I said, I used to think this movie was one of the most
Where is it
baddest
coming
ass
from?
movies from the 90s. Like, I
Yeah.
remember feeling that way. And, you know, this is one of those times where you wake up and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's one of those times where PCP Army, you fucked us and you ruined this movie for us, man.
Yep.
But I think the music it's okay. It's not the greatest stuff. It's decent. It's serviceable, but it's not something that really, to me, sticks out as a character in the film. What do you think about the music, Link?
You summed it up perfectly. It definitely feels like reminiscent of T2, just the cheaper version of it, like arcade-ish almost, just not as epic, but serviceable. Yeah, I guess it gets what the movie's going for, but it's not memorable.
For sure. What about you, Brooks? What do you think?
Yeah, it's all right. Like, I think a thing that would have helped this movie actually a lot would have been if they don't really have themes for the characters. So like if Jean-Claude's character had a theme and Lundgren's character had a theme, and like throughout the movie, you know, like every time the themes start, you know, kind of like how Once Upon a Time in the West did, you know, with like the three mains having their own themes, and just have it between Van Damme and Lundgren. I think that would have worked better. But like as it is, it's all right. It's a decent soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point, man. Individual themes playing themselves together. That would have been fucking awesome, man. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the music?
Man, this is some weak sauce music. It is forgettable as fuck. Like this music makes me like wonder why things, because I was listening to it this time because I was like, this movie shit. I might as well listen to the music. So I'm like, listen to the music. And I'm like, damn, it's so boring and forgettable. It's very weak music. It's like if it's like stock music. It's like we found some stock music on YouTube for YouTube use, and we decided to stick it in there. We're gonna make it a little patriotic. We're gonna put some in there for the sad parts. We're gonna do da 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 da. We're gonna throw that in there for fun. We're gonna, like you said before, we'll put some drum beats in there, and then we'll put some salsa, and then we'll have Jean-Claude Van Damme dance a little bit, and that's what we're gonna do. And it's that shit. It's in the background, and it's just some background elevator music. We got some elevator music playing. Yeah, that shit. And it's just like,
I can vibe out to that.
and they're like,
That was actually better.
it was better. It was better than the music they played in Universal Soldier. And then you get Body Count. And I'm like, I had to go back to it because Body Count threw me off. I forgot Body Count was in this movie. And people talked about it because they were like, oh God, it's from that controversial Ice-T. Oh my goodness, why is Ice-T doing this? Cop Killer is way better than Body Count, than him being in a rock band with Body Count. Because
that's the one thing Universal Soldier needs is Cop Killer to be played at the end of it.
Cop Killer.
It's already criticizing the military-industrial complex. Might as well throw in some cop killing in there.
Cop killing. And of course, like I always start off by saying, "Fuck the police, fuck the police, fuck the police."
So we love the troops, but we hate the cops.
We hate the cops, even though the troops sometimes turn into the cops. But so it's weird. It's a catch-22. But as far as music goes, it's and the soundtrack is just because Body Count sucks. And I'm sorry, Ice-T. And Ice-T, you my boy, but then Body Count sucks.
Not anymore.
Like Body Count.
He's just unfriending your ass now.
Who would have thought that dude would just become a cast regular on Law and Order for the rest of his career, man? Who would have fucking known, man?
And he's good. And he's good on that show. So I don't understand. Even though he plays a cop, which is very ironic.
He played a cop in New Jack City too.
Yes, he does.
He sure fucking did,
yes,
dude.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck.
But fuck the police. There, I'm done.
New Jack City, great film. We did a review on it. Check it out.
We did.
Check it out. It's great. Great fucking film. Great film.
Oh yeah.
Fable. What about you? What do you think about the music?
Can't add much more than that, man. Like I said, the music is much like the beginning of this movie. It's badass, and then it just disappears, and you just don't. Yeah, generic stuff. I don't hate that Ice-T song as much as Jelani, but it is out of place. In my too. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just comes up, and it's the most like generic song. Like the Ice-T get paid for that. He's just like body count.
It's repetitive. Body count.
Body count.
Body count.
Man, it makes sense. It makes sense. I guess it's a body count in this movie, a little bit, not too crazy, but yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
My favorite comment about the music is Universal Soldiers do not fight to survive.
No, they don't.
I mean, there was no Stan Bush song in this one, so yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. Like, Steph Fable, y'all weren't on the panel the last couple of weeks, but like we were blessed with Stan Bush music, and Kickboxer and Bloodsport, especially. All right, this movie's got a theme. It's got some things to dig out of it. What do you dig out of it, Steph? What do you think this movie is saying to you?
Always make sure people can hear you.
Hear you.
Yes. And keep some ice handy.
Nice. I like it.
I like when that country bumpkin pops out of the fucking ice. He's just like, what do you mean park your car? Are you dumb? Like, what do you fucking think they mean? Like, park the fucking car. Get out of our fucking business. Hell yeah, man. Always keep your ears open. He was trying to cock block. He sure was, man. What are y'all doing in there? What do you think they're doing, bruh? And here's the thing, dude. If Van Damme was like, is that supposed to be there? And she got super nervous. Like, oh, no. I didn't mean to touch your dick. He would have cut that shit off. He would have just been like, you thought it was the tracker. He would have just cut his dick off, man. He has no idea what his dick is. You pee, right? Do you not pee? The Universal Soldiers don't have to pee. Like, I
was wondering how he ate all that food.
They don't eat. They don't pee. They don't. Yeah, they don't defecate. He doesn't. He doesn't know what an asshole's for. Then it's for a few things. Anyway,
at the end of the movie.
Brooks, he's shitting himself. No shit. There should have been a moment in that final fight where it's like, whoa, excuse me, bro. I just ate this fucking diner meatloaf in fucking Arizona or whatever the fuck. I just ate like 8 of them. Speaking of the runs, Brooks, what do you think? What is this movie speaking to you?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, I think a big thing with this movie is kind of like a criticism, oddly enough, for this like dumb action movie. It's a criticism of like how soldiers are made, how like we drain the humanity out of these people and then like send them to fight and die. And like, the whole universal soldier idea is just like a continuation of that. Like, what if they died and we can just bring them back and keep using them as soldiers, and they have even less humanity now, and they're like even easier to manipulate and control. But that's not how human beings work. That's why like Dolph Lundgren is like, he's a bad guy, but he's also rebelling against this, programming that they're trying to do. Like, like even before he becomes a universal soldier, like, the war has like fucked him up. The war's fucked him up so bad that like all he can think is like violence and, like the cause and, everybody who stands against him is a traitor and all this. And, it's just like, this movie does like say a lot about that, I think. Like, I guess it's open to interpretation, but that's what I got from it, this idea of like, how we treat soldiers and how we like, just drain them of what makes them human, and then like, just basically to treat them as disposable.
Yeah, and pump them back out to the next war, man, right? The next mission. 100%. What about you, Jelani? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually picking back in off of what Brooke said. It's about burying your past, and even though it's forcefully burying your past, they're pretty much dead, and they're husks. So the government assumes that they're still expendable. We can still use them in some form or fashion. So we're gonna take their humanity away, like you said, Brooks. But it's also burying things that you have that make you, and you can't bury it. It's always going to come back. And it's like after flying through a car windshield, basically Dolph Lundgren remembers that he's a sergeant and he likes killing, the enemy. I will not use his terms.
And he likes ears.
He likes some ears. He likes some ears. So he remembers all those things, and Dolph Lundgren slowly remembers what's going on with a little help exposition from Jerry Orbach, which is a crime. God, I'm still thinking about this movie. God, this movie sucks. They had Jerry Orbach from Law and Order. They had Jerry Orbach from Law and Order, and they make him the doctor guy, and he's not even the doctor guy for the movie. Like he's just there to dump exposition. Oh yeah, I'm the guy that did stuff to him, and that's it. Oh God,
it's the weakest fucking explanation. We found we could accelerate their bodies. What the fuck does that even mean?
You don't explain that. You can't do anything with it. They don't kill him. They don't put him in a situation where he's on the van. He's not important into the thing. They don't even kill his maid. It's just so much work. This is where the down bad part should have started. Like he goes to the doctor, figure out what's going on. They still find a way to go to the doctor, kill the maid. Oh my God, the maid's dead. And then like they take the doctor hostage because they don't have enough serum or something to keep this universe, keep the bodies like cold or whatever the hell. You could have done I'm thinking of better plots than they fucking did. Oh my God. Sorry.
They got to use all this technology, by the way, but like a trunk full of ice will do the job.
Will do the job of a shot. So it's burying, but it's about burying the past. I think it's about changing when you are suppressed to the point where you finally break free of your programming and you finally realize who you are, for better or worse. That's what I got.
Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. What about you, Fable? What's this movie speaking to you?
Yeah, well, I don't know what to pull out my ass for this one. Yeah, I would say you guys are all right. Maybe I would add in trying to commercialize the military or make it a product of some sort, or you know what I mean? And it never goes right. This is you can't manufacture heroes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You can't make that. It has to be from within, which is like RoboCop sort of theme a little bit. But this has some of that in there, along with I think more what you guys said, but I'll piggyback that on that.
It's amoral. What they did was amoral. They took dead bodies of soldiers that came from war and reanimated them. It is
against their will.
Against their will.
Those bodies were property of the United States government.
Yep, that's true. Military industrial
They sent the
complex.
waiver, bro.
That's what a code zebra is.
Haven't served the full term.
Which is forever.
I got you for
Forever.
3 minutes. No shit. To me, it's right along with what everybody was saying, man. And it's, to me, it's very simply put, the exploitation of soldiers.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. It's a scathing criticism, actually, of the military-industrial complex. That's what's so fucking weird about this movie, is it's just such cheese. It's so stupid. It's so inherently at times not well done, but it's really got some themes to it, man. And those original themes, I think, were part of the original script. The original 2 screenwriters wanted to do this to be more of like a Frankenstein movie, right? Where they're like combining body parts, like this dude can shoot, this dude can run. Maybe we combine into the perfect soldier, shit like that. They wanted to go into a different direction. They didn't want to go into that gnarly Frankenstein stitched together type shit. But it's still the same theme that comes across. It's the exploitation of our military, right? And how it's all for profit. It's all, and it doesn't matter. And you know, Chill Out Man, I think, was trying to make a joke, but the theme is call in for backup when your captain loses their minds in war. Take away that.
Full Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now.
No shit.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the dude who's in charge of the Unisol program.
Oh yeah.
Because there's that moment where the doctor goes, no, man, we need to put this dude on ice and think why. He just shot a man. Like, he just killed a dude for no fucking reason. Dude's like, no, he's fine. He's like, well, it's your program. You're in charge. Nah, sometimes the people in charge don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Fuck
right?
this shit, I'm out.
Exactly, man. Sometimes you have to question authority. Brooks, right? Right?
Mhm.
This movie's about questioning that authority. This movie is about the exploitation of soldiers, though. And it's tied into Vietnam, and that's a real thing. There were people who came out of Vietnam with some real fucking problems. The military just ignores them if they can't use them, right? And I know plenty of people that have been in war, and plenty of people that are proudly have served this country, but
Thank you for your service.
very much have disdain for the way the government treats them afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a part of it. Like half-assed medical care, fucking everything is a secret. No, we can't tell anybody these people died. We're going to cover this up. We got this program, all this kind of shit. It's about the shady government shit. This movie is dealing with that. So I think Steph, from the very beginning of this show, is right. This is perfect for a remake. Think about those themes and how, like, Twitter, X would get a hold of them today, right? And like the movie you could make if you actually were trying to make a good movie, like when he goes back to his parents, I should be feeling something. By the way, his dad is Ron Howard's dad.
Yep.
It should be obvious. He looks like a Howard.
Just like him.
They all look fucking weird.
Mhm.
but no, that's what it's about. The exploitation of the soldier, the way that the government mistreats the soldier, the way that they don't give a shit once the use and utilization is up. And also just, you know, I love the way that you said this, Fable. You can't manufacture heroes. Can't do it, man. Homelander ain't no hero. And Dolph Lundgren is a Homelander in this fucking movie. But the biggest problem is y'all didn't deal with him first. You didn't give him the support. You didn't need to give him the therapy. You didn't give him anything that he needed to make his way through war. Dude, I can't even imagine what it's like to go through a war. Yeah. I have friends that are soldiers that tell me about their experiences in Afghanistan or Iraq or something like that. I can't even fucking imagine what it was like in Vietnam. I can't imagine what it was like in World War I or II or any of the wars throughout our history. And America's never been in a state of not being in a war.
Yeah. You know, when that was poignant too, when in the movie, now that you're saying and I'm thinking about it, the scene where the guy gets the call from the government or his boss or something is like, oh, fuck. All right, we got to pull out. It's over. They're pulling the plug. And that in itself is dumb, right? Because you got all these $1 million soldiers running around the town and you're like, we got to get out of here. The boss said it's over. It's like, what? But anyway, the point is, when he said it's over, the soldiers are like, nah. You got us all in this shit. It ain't over. It ain't over till I say it's over. You know what I mean? It's not over. And that's that, like you said, it's the PTSD, all that shit, all the mind fucking. That now you could just click a button and say it's over, let's get out of here. And it's like, no, You know,
Yeah.
that happens in here.
And see, E right now is pinpointing why this movie doesn't work. It's because we're describing the framework of a pretty good movie.
Too bad we didn't watch that one.
I mean, but the thing is, the movie's not bad. It's kind of like, I don't know. Now I'm very interested for this. You out there in the chat, out of 5 possible you digs, and meaning 5, I mean like blood sport level. Okay, so like, and meaning 0, I mean like blood sucking freaks level. Okay,
Whoa.
so that's like my kind of go to, right? Out of 5 you digs, you out there in the chat, what do you give Universal Soldier from 1992? Steph, why don't you kick us off here on the chat or on the panel? Yeah, panel. Yeah, Steph, what do you think?
I'm gonna give this one a solid 3.5. Some great ideas, some solid performances, cool moments. But like we said, there's some pacing issues. We've described, as he said, a better framework for how this movie could have operated and turned out. So that being said, it's not the worst. It's got some cheesy moments, but overall it works. So I'm gonna give it a solid 3.5.
All right, a 3.5 from Steph. What about you, Brooks? What do you think?
I give this one a 4. Actually, I did enjoy a lot of aspects of the movie. I enjoyed Jean-Claude's performance in this movie. I enjoyed Lundgren's performance in this movie. It was a bit slow in parts, but overall, I thought it was a decent movie. You know, not quite Bloodsport, but not quite Kickboxer. So I think it slides right in there in between them in the slot for a solid 4.
All right. What about you, Jelani? What do you think?
Bloodsport's the best. That is the peak of Van Damme. Is one of his like signature movies where we watched it multiple times and get enjoyment from it multiple times. Kickboxer is okay. It's not the best. I still think Tom Poe is an imposing villain. He does what he can. For Universal Soldier, fuck this movie. I give this a 2. This is 2 you digs. You know why it's 2? Because you didn't pick fucking Time Cop, you fucking fuckers. Why the fuck didn't you pick Time Cop and make me watch this movie? How dare you? The pacing's terrible. Van Damme's okay. Dolph Lundgren's okay. It's got moments, but man, Time Cop is so much better.
Bro, this is how I felt, Jelani. This is how I felt when Mortal Kombat beat Street Fighter for our video game movie poll, like years ago, if you remember. I was so fucking mad.
Yeah,
I was like, Street Fighter kicks Mortal Kombat's ass any fucking day. It's a way better movie, man. What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Isn't this like the 3rd poll or the 2nd poll where Time Cop was on it and just it didn't go nowhere, right?
It might have been because we've already done a Van Damme poll. There was a time where I was trying to get the audience to pick Street Fighter. We did a Van Damme poll and Bloodsport one, right? And then we're like, oh, okay. And that turned out for the best. I was like, okay, we're doing a video game poll. Surely Street Fighter won this. No, Mortal Kombat won. Maybe it was the other way around. And I'm like, one day, we did Street Fighter on our own, by the way. So everybody go check out that video. It's a great video. Street Fighter's probably the best Van Damme movie outside of Bloodsport, like 100%. But JCVD is right there. We'll get to that one. That one always loses. I'm always the only person to vote for JCVD in any of these polls. So one day I'm just going to fucking do it myself. So anyway. All right. A 2 from Jelani, 1 for each ass cheek from Van Damme. What about you, Fable? What do you think?
Yeah, man. If you would have asked me when I saw this movie back then, it would have been a high score. But this didn't age well. This is one of those didn't age well things, I guess. But if you're a Van Damme fan, if you're a Dolph Lundgren fan, you owe it to yourself to do this little bit of homework in their careers, because this was something, back in the day. Like, I remember being excited for this. I remember this being a home rental thing all the time, on the repeat on the TV, the syndicated channels, stuff like that. So yeah. I say 3. I'm gonna go 3.
All right, I'm right there with you, Fable. I'm gonna give this one a 3.
Yeah.
And that is because it's entertaining, even though it's got its faults. It's still entertaining. I think Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren do great performances. everybody else. I mean, there are elements that work, there are elements that don't. The theme is there, the music is kind of there, you know, but like it doesn't really work. But Van Damme's ass, bro, in this movie. So I gotta give it a 3. I think what we're all saying is it's a decent enough movie. It may not be as good as we remember it, but it's pretty decent and still entertaining enough to watch once every 10 years or something. Jelani's just really bitter because Time Cop did not win. But he is right. Horror Fest is over, so we ain't holding no punches anymore, right?
You gotta do a Van Damme poll.
He messed
like 6 movies, and you put Time Cop number 1, Time Cop number 2, Time Cop number 3. Double Impact number 4, Time Cop number 5.
Yeah, would you guys say that Time Cop's an action film? Would you guys say Time Cop's an action
science fiction? It's
sci-fi, but it's action-y, right?
Action,
Yeah, it's
sci-fi.
sci-fi.
Like RoboCop.
Wait, I asked people this a couple weeks ago. Does RoboCop an action movie to you? Many people said yes. So if RoboCop's an action film, Time Cop's an action film, right?
Yeah.
And he does the splits in it.
All right, I got one more spot in Action Fest. I think I know what I'm doing. All right, I think we're just gonna circumvent the PCP Army and give them the show they really need and not the one that they deserve. What? All right, whatever. So 3 from me and Fable, a 3.5 from Steph, a 2 from Jelani, and a 4 from Brooks, which really actually surprises me. So that's a PCP average of 3.468.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck it. Van Damme's ass. 69. 3.469. Steph was the closest. Steph was right, but you went over. It's like Price is Right, bro. You went over. So me and Fable are the winners. and Jelani. But we're closest without
going to
over.
Hawaii, Robbie.
Yeah. Dude, man, we're coming up. Me and you is the Showcase Showdown next.
I got some no prizes just for you guys.
We're gonna win the ability to go to do the splits. Or like win the ability to sweat very much. All right. Thus ends not only the review for Universal Soldier, but thus ends Van Damme November. Maybe we'll do it next November. Who knows? But I don't think we're done with our relationship with Van Damme on this channel because our highest viewed video is Van Damme Cyborg. So we're just trying to replicate that success, y'all. It's about to hit 300,000 views. I don't understand why.
No way.
Thank you. 300K? What the fuck, bro?
I'm not even on that video.
Maybe that's why, Jelani. Maybe the next Van Damme view, the next Van Damme review, Jelani. I'm sorry, you're not gonna be here for Time Cop. But
and it'll be the
God,
largest one. It'll be the highest viewed ever.
All right. Next week, we officially join Holiday Horror Fest, which Dylan has already been really doing a great job with over at Dylan's Horror Show. He's talked about Pilgrim. He's talked about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. So did Blood Splatter Chatter. I was on both of those shows. Check them out. And he just did Black Friday starring Bruce Campbell and Michael Jai White, surprisingly enough, right? This week, though, he's going to be doing 30 Days of Night, right? So I don't think this is a Christmas movie, but Dylan thinks like when it's in the snow, it counts. And so that works for me, whatever. If you remember last year, he was like Storm of the Century for December. And I'm like, is that Christmas? He's like, there's snow. And I was like, you're right about that, bro. You're 100% right about that. So join Dylan and the crew over at Dylan's Horror Show for 30 Days of Night. I don't know what Verno's doing. Do y'all know what Verno's doing this week?
Wasn't he doing the new movie that came out? What was it called? Oh no, Sleep Talk to Me. Don't talk. What was it
Talk
called?
to Me. Yes.
Talk to Me. Talk to Me this week for him. Okay. Yeah, I need to start having Verno give me his thumbnails so we can. It's basically the PCP Movie Review Network. You know what I'm saying?
Tell him to put it in the back, but
Yeah, he should. What the fuck is wrong with him? Hey, what the fuck is wrong with Verno? Anyway, we officially here on PCP Movie Night join Holiday Horror Fest because for Christmas this year we're doing horror films and we're doing one of Joe Corallo's favorites. Next week we're talking about Christmas Evil. Here on the channel. I am so excited to hear everybody's thoughts about this one, brother. I'm going to tell you. I'm very excited to hear what Brooks and Jelani think about this one. But Christmas Evil next week, man. I own it on Blu-ray. Just buy the Blu-ray, Jelani. What's wrong with you, man?
But he didn't get Universal Soldier.
But not Universal.
I mean,
right.
Come on.
No, I didn't. I knew that shit was on Amazon Prime. I knew that shit was on Amazon Prime. So I was just like, we good, man. We good. You know what though? If it was cheap and on sale, I'd buy Universal Soldier. I would. And if someone gave it to me,
Respect.
someone gifted it to me, I would be like, thank you.
I'm very shocked that you do not have a Van Damme section in your Blu-ray collection, your disc collection there.
Dude, all I have is JCVD and fucking Cyborg. Those may be and Street Fighter. Those may be the only ones I actually own.
Those are good ones, though.
Because we don't have a really
That's
good
out.
Blu-ray release of Bloodsport. Why do we have a 4K of Universal Soldier, but we don't have a nice like you can find
So they didn't
Bloodsport?
make $100 million.
God, it's stupid as fuck. Bloodsport should be like Bloodsport is like the pinnacle of goddamn cinema, man. Like, we should really have
It's awesome.
like
I gotta
I'm
go back
sorry,
and watch
man, but like we
Bloodsport.
should,
Jesus
you know.
Christ.
I'm just saying, why do I got a giant ass fucking a very fucking elaborate box set for George A. Romero's Martin, which is a movie me and like 2,200 other people like, but Bloodsport's just like languishing around. Like you can't even fucking stream it. What's wrong with y'all? Anyway. Bloodsport, y'all. Come on. We made the True Lies Blu-ray 4K happen. We made the Mario Blu-ray 4K happen because they're fucking doing that one finally. Bloodsport. Bloodsport. I know you fuckers are listening. Bloodsport needs a physical media release. Y'all haven't done one since like 2003. What is wrong with you? It's ridiculous. Anyway. So next week, Christmas Evil. Join us for that. Steph, thank you for being here. Any final thoughts? What you got coming up?
Final thoughts. Glad to do this with you guys tonight. Gentlemen are the best. Plug Supreme Clientele. We are moving to Tuesday nights, so starting tomorrow, we'll be on me, Stu, Dr. Doom's Fan Club, my brother. We'll be on 9 p.m. every Tuesday. Just we won't say it, but we're the best pop culture related talk show on the YouTubes. But you know, we'll. No, yeah.
I'm gonna cut a promo on Steph. And you're on my show too, so I'm gonna cut it right where you're there. Like,
You should cut out that bit right there and do it like a political ad where he says that, then it just freezes and it zooms in and like a Ghostbusters cross comes in. You know, it's like Steph willingly lies to his audience about
paid for by the Friends of Missing Link.
But yeah, come check us out.
Go check them out, man. A fantastic fucking show. Really good stuff. Y'all do a great job. Brooks, thank you for being here. Any final thoughts?
Buckle up. It's for your safety.
He was really like on. That was another thing going on in the early 90s. We were like dealing with Desert Storm. We were also dealing with the idea that everybody needs to fucking buckle up. Wear your seatbelt, man. You're not too cool for your seatbelt or for a condom.
Buckle up for safety.
Boom.
Buckle up.
1992, man. Buckle up and wrap your fucking dick up in fucking latex so you don't fucking get an STD. Speaking of wrapping your dick up in latex, Jelani, thank you for being here. Final thoughts?
I don't get AIDS? I don't know what to say. Brooks and I did Go Figure reviews. We did a few videos this week. One of them was the Superpowers retro whirly bat. We did a cool review on that with Mike Matthews, the voice. We had a lot of help from Robbie and his vintage collection, so we appreciate that. And we also got another.
By the way,
video
Jelani,
out.
I'm gonna need those toys back.
Oh, I think they're mine.
Why are they not back?
I don't know if
Got my
they're
snake
mine
man
now.
too, dude. I think you're running a scam. He's just trying to take our toys.
Fucking
That's all
pyramid
the
scheme.
plan
He's
was.
trying to do a YouTube pyramid scheme. God damn it! That's what he's like.
That's
Let me
right.
borrow your toys for my video.
That's right. And then all of a sudden they're just mine. And also we did the Mattel Creations Fangor.
Nice.
From the Snake Man. This might be my favorite Snake Man next to like Lady Slither.
Nice. I
as
gave
far
mine
as
up for
the
you,
review.
Jelani. I hope you appreciate me, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
you
fuck
gave
you.
that up. Thank you, man. I
Yeah, that
appreciate
was mine. That was for me. I pre-ordered that. That was for you. I was like, fuck it. I don't give a shit. You can have
it.
it.
Oh, you're a sweet
It looks.
fella.
I watched the video. It looks badass, dude.
Yeah, I
Toy
love
looks
it. Sir. But we did a couple videos. We did another one with our first Transformers video, but I haven't found I haven't made a thumbnail for it yet. I got to get Manny on that. But it's for 2 cars, Knockout and Wild Ride, I think. I got to remember the names of them, but that video will be out soon too. So yeah, check us out. Go Figure Reviews, the best toy channel show somewhere on YouTube that isn't from anyone else.
Damn.
We're the damn shit, son. Come watch our videos and shit.
Hell yeah. Fable, thank you so much for being here, man. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. You're discharged, Sarge.
The dumbest line in the fucking movie, right? I forgot all about that shit. I blew that fucking shit out of my mind, man.
Dean Devlin.
And as far as catching me this week, I am off. I'm happy to be off. So catch me in 2 weeks. We'll be back. We have Scotty Vaughn coming on, so that's gonna be a good time. You know. But this week, just hanging, watching you guys all week. Sweat it out. Sweat it out.
Sweat it out.
We're gonna have to get in like tubs of ice.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah, right? Get the ice.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, panel, for being here. You, PCP Army, for being here. If you're watching on the replay, let us know what you think about this movie in the comments down below. Let's make Van Damme kick off in a big way here on PCP. He already has. Let's continue the Van Damme energy for Pop Culture Philosophers. And join us next week for Christmas Evil. It's streaming on Tubi, as Two Gun Pedro let us know. 30 Days of Night on Saturday. Talk to Me on, I believe, Thursday for Verno. And check out Supreme Clientele. And check out Blame Fable. And check out Go Figure Reviews. And keep watching all of the PCP and PCP. I had a quick shutdown. All right, everybody. Sorry, I'm getting a little steamy, getting a little hot. Got to go on ice.
Bathtub full of ice, quickly.
We're dipping out. We love y'all. We'll see you for Holiday Horror Fest.